up your YouTube, search for Stukeley Meadows, watch on your big screen.
Or another device if you're at home.
Get yourself comfy, this could take a while. What a happy scene. Something new every day for your long-term memory. This is so exciting, it is nearly time for a Stukeley assembly.
Well, hello there everyone, and welcome to today's curriculum assembly. You know what I'm going to say, so let's get on with it. For each other we, every day we, to improve we, and together we will. And our everyday focuses are, and our Stukeley motto is, and our Stukeley curriculum is, and 4 words that always make the magic happen. And not forgetting pads. P, please and thank yous. Keep going with that, everyone. It's so important. A, apologise. Even if it wasn't your fault, apologies are always welcome. D, door etiquette. I actually saw someone this week standing back to allow someone to go through the door in front of them. I wish I had kind of really thought about who that was, and I would give them a shout out, but well done to that person anyway. And S, I'm not actually sure of that yet. Has that been announced? If it has, and I've missed it, can somebody tell me please? I'm sure you will. Okay, so here we are, another curriculum assembly, and we have an expert. Yes, we do. It's an expert, and they are going to be talking to us about their particular area of expertise. And I suppose the main focus or the main expertise for this particular expert, how many times can I get the word expert or expertise in, is that the skills of communication are really, really important. She talks about maths and English. Everybody does, because it is really, really important. But she also talks about communication skills. So that got me thinking, communication. Where does that fit into all of our learning at school? Where does communication come? Well, I'd like you to have a think about that, in fact. I think we can probably put communication into 2 groups, into 2 parts. One part of it is speaking, okay? Spoken communication, where we are speaking to communicate our ideas, our thoughts, our feelings. So expressing ourselves through speaking. The other part of communication is listening. And speaking and listening are actually both part of our wider English curriculum. And this is true of every school in the country. Speaking and listening is part of our English curriculum. Now, you may not be aware that you're actively doing any kind of specific learning in terms of speaking and listening at school, but it is happening all the time, I promise you. In fact, I wonder if you can think of all the ways in a typical school day, or all the situations in a typical school day where you are having to communicate through speaking. How much speaking goes on in a school day? What kind of speaking would you have to do to communicate in a school day? Have a quick pause now and think as a class. Okay, so I wonder what you came up with. Some really simple ones that I thought about is answering the register. Somebody calls your name, you have to say, yeah, here, present, whatever it is that you have to say. There has to be a communication on your part. You might have to talk about what lunch choices you've got for the day, so you might have to let somebody know. You might have run out of water in your water bottle, so you need to ask somebody to fill it up for you, explaining that you're thirsty. You might have fallen over and need some first aid. You've got to explain what's happened and what part of your body is wounded and needs attention. There are so many different situations in a school day that you have to communicate. You have to be able to speak, but you also have to be able to explain things as clearly and precisely as you can. And in order to do that, you need to have plenty of words that you can use in the correct way. That's why at our school we do lots and lots of work around vocabulary, and vocabulary is basically like a bank of words. And some of you older children will know all about Victoria's vocabulary, But you should also be aware that within our other subject areas like history and geography and science, we learn words that are very particular to those subjects that help us when we are trying to communicate for those subjects, be a little bit more precise with the words and the terms that we use. I wonder also if you can think of situations outside of school where clear communication in terms of speaking would also be really important. You can pause now and have a talk about that if you'd like to. I was thinking about going to the hairdressers. Now, imagine if I didn't have very many words or I wasn't able to communicate very clearly what I wanted the hairdresser to do. Goodness knows what might happen. So that's really important. What about if I went to the doctors and I needed to explain what was wrong with me, but I didn't really have the very precise words to explain? It would be really hard for the doctor to diagnose what the matter was, wouldn't it? So having the right words to use in the right context is so important. The other aspect of communication is listening. And not just listening, there's a big difference, isn't there, between listening and hearing. Listening involves your brain actually thinking about what it is hearing and then processing it and thinking it through. Again, I wonder how often in a school day you've got to do active listening, where you've got to listen and take on board what's being said. You can have a talk now about all those situations. You can pause me now and have a talk about those situations if you'd like to. I was coming back again though, thinking back to being in the doctor's surgery, and the doctor then, if I've managed to explain what it is that's wrong with me, I've then got to be able to understand what the doctor's telling me. If I'm not processing what the doctor is saying about the medicine that I might need to take, I might not take the medicine in the right way. He or she may have told me to take it twice a day and straight after I've eaten, for example. If I don't do that, the medicine might end up making me poorly rather than making me better. So there's lots of important reasons why we have to be really good and get better at listening, and listening in an active way. So speaking and listening are a big part of our curriculum here at Stukeley, and will also be true of lots of other schools as well. I wonder if you could hear that. There was a motorbike in the background behind me. Never mind. So there we go. Communication, and it's a really big part of this week's expert's job. So I'm going to say no more. I'm going to welcome today's expert, and let's see what we make of it.
Hi, my name's Emma, and I live in St Neots by myself. I went to school in St Neots, and I went to school with someone that you lot know. I went to school with Mrs Page. I was a bit of a chatterbox at school, but I also used to like to learn lots of new things and pay attention to my teacher. I love music, I still do now, and at playtimes you often used to find me dancing and singing and putting on little shows with Mrs Page too. My job is an online employability tutor. What a tutor is someone that teaches adults instead of children. And because I teach online, it's a bit like what you had to do when the schools were closed during lockdown. I teach adults qualifications to help them do better at their job, become better and to get promotions, or sometimes to help people change their job. I also teach English and maths, which are very important skills for anyone who wants to get a good job. But sometimes I also teach people who didn't grow up in this country and they learn a different language, so they need to learn English so that they can get a good job, communicate well in speaking, writing, to find themselves a good job and to live in the UK. What I love about my job is that I'm helping people. It's really important to make sure you always learn new skills. You're never too old to learn, and it's really nice to help people. The most challenging thing about my job is to make sure all my students are motivated. Because they're adults, they're not at school all day like you are. They've probably got a job, they've probably got children, they've got a family, they've got a house to clean. So I need to make sure that they know why they're doing this qualification, what they need to do, and to stay motivated to achieve that qualification. The skills you need to do my job is to have very good communication skills. Because I teach online, I'm not in front of me in a classroom like you are with your teachers. So it's really important that I speak clearly because I talk to them on the phone to make sure that they understand what they're doing well, what they need to improve on, and also give them instructions. I also need to make sure that my written feedback is good. When I send them emails, that my English is good so they understand me all the time. Communication skills are important for any job that you ever want to do.
Okay everyone, here we are back again. Slightly different location, long story, but it does involve Mrs. Stevens, an electric saw and the garden shed. I will leave you with that thought. Anyway, move to a slightly quieter part of the house just to finish off. So a big thank you to today's assembly, friend of Mrs. Page, talking to us about her job educating adults or being a mentor to adults, a learning mentor. Interesting, isn't it, to think that all through our lives we are learning all the time. And also thank you to her because she really made it clear, didn't she, the importance of good communication and how she has to make sure that her ability to speak clearly and in really precise ways helps people to get the qualifications that they want to get or to move forward in their current job so that their jobs positions can get better and better. But listening was also a big part too. So where there is speaking, there has to be listening. So making sure that that is carefully taken on board as well. So as we go into half term, everybody, I hope that you have a good rest of your week. I am sure your spoken communication skills as well as your listening skills will be much in use during the week. Make sure you are great listeners and make sure when you are speaking that you are trying to communicate whatever it is that you want to communicate in clear and effective ways. So have a great week everyone, work hard, be kind as always, and don't forget, if you find out what the S is in pads, let me know. Take care, see you soon.
Another fantastic expert. Thank you, Mrs. Stevens, for giving us all of the curriculum knowledge around that too. Now, we know that there aren't any birthdays this week, but we have to play the song. We always play the song. Let's see if we've got any birthdays this week. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Oh, come on! No birthdays, just as we thought. Let's finish with everyday knowledge for you. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. Okay, we're starting to sprinkle a little bit of history back in. Lots of you have done these historical dates with me for months. Some of you haven't. So let's have a quick recap. When was the Great Fire of London? 1666. When was the Battle of Hastings? 1066. When did the England men win the Football World Cup? 1966. What have they all got in common? They all end in 66. 1666, 1066, 1966. Three very famous dates for England, for the country that we are now in. Okay, let's go periodic table. Here it is. Some scientists have discovered over the years every element. The element is the smallest, most basic part of everything around us. The elements are in the periodic table. What's this one? Hydrogen. What about this one? Carbon. What about this one? Oxygen. What about this one? Nitrogen. What about this one? Helium. Good work. Oh, I love the Angry Stomp. I think it's Angry and Stompy from the Apprentice show. Here's the composer. What's his name? Sergei Prokofiev. Name of the tune. Dance of the Knights. And from which ballet does it come? Romeo and Juliet. Quick one to finish. Name of the artist and the name of the painting. Leonardo da Vinci, and it's the Mona Lisa. Yes, it is, and somebody told me a very interesting fact about it today, is that the lady who sat to be painted was not called the Mona Lisa. No, she wasn't. Find out tomorrow.